Let me start off by saying that I am not really a big fan of war movies. But since this one was written and directed by Christopher Nolan, I wanted to see what he would do with the genre. Dunkirk tells the story of the historic evacuation of the Allied forces from the shores of France during World War II. Surrounded and trapped by the German army, the English and French troops were pushed against the coastline with little hope for escape or survival. In a desperate attempt to rescue the soldiers and allies, England called for civilian ships to ferry these men home. The film shows us these events from 3 different perspectives: on the beach, on the sea, and in the air, each of them covering 3 different time frames. Occasionally, these 3 strings will intersect, and that makes for an interesting way of storytelling, as sometimes you will get to see something happening in one string of story before it occurs in another. There isn't much political background, nor is there really a lot of plot or character development. But that's okay. What Dunkirk aims to do, and absolutely excels in, is to offer a snapshot of what it must have felt like being there. There's a constant and weighty sense of claustrophobia throughout the film. This is further helped by the way the film is shot. The camera is mostly right in the middle of the happenings, and you perceive the events as a very close observer. And that makes the film feel incredibly real. Even more outstanding is the sound design. From deafening gunshots to the terrifying roar of airplanes diving in on the attack, the sounds will send chills down your spine. When the bullets impact, you can feel it. And Hans Zimmer's soundtrack puts a fitting and oppressing layer over it all. The acting is solid, and yes, that does include the one kid from One Direction. Though Cillian Murphy and Tom Hardy feel somewhat underused. Especially Tom Hardy spends most of his screen time concealed in his piloting gear, and he only has a few lines. And speaking of the pilot, his ending in the film didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And I am no history buff, but the film makes it seem as if most of the evacuation took place in just one day, while it actually lasted over a week. But it's a film, dramatic effect, and that's alright. But really, never mind these nitpickety flaws. Nolan did what he pretty much always does. He delivered another piece of high-quality cinema.